Greetings, fellow lycanthropes. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Lycan Legion, a new series about werewolf legionnaires in the Roman Senate. If you would like to skip the game's backstory, overview, details, goals, and other information, please use YouTube chapters. The Roman Senate and its senators have grown impotent, leading worthless lives full of decadent luxuries while the empire falls to ruin. The degradation caused by the lack of decisive leadership has given rise to violent tribalism, marauders, and cults. We interpreted the prophecies and collectively decided to sell our homes and all of our possessions for the land rights to a bountiful but undeveloped swath of forest nestled in the mountains. Our pack is determined to build a prosperous municipia and use our wealth and influence to win over the necessary support to stake a lawful claim as the emperors over the land. We are the Lycan Legion. Our goals are simple. Use our military prowess as lycanthropes to assert control over our domain and ingratiate ourselves with the current Roman senators to win their influence and support, and back our claims as rightful emperors. Our fledgling municipia has but few laws. All who reside in our lands, as either slave or citizen, must pledge allegiance to the Senate, and more importantly, pledge allegiance to the four founders, and betrayal of our pack is akin to treason. More information can be found in the description of this video, but please keep in mind many details were kept intentionally secret. Our starting characters: Scipia. Scipia is a dire lycan, and she is sanguine, great memory, fast learner, and as a dire lycan, she is a night owl as well. And then we have Darius, the other dire lycan. He's a tough brawler who is super immune, very good at mining, construction, and, well, brawling. We've got Bibo. Bibo is a farmer who is really good at getting vermin off of her farmland. She is a jogger who's bloodlust and loves to shoot. And Elaba. Elaba is an industrious, iron-willed fast walker who is a blacksmith and a son of a blacksmith as well. The first thing we want to do is to figure out where we want to settle, and anyone that remembers the dumpster fire that was last week's attempt at a stream, despite network connectivity issues, remembers that there is indeed a water pool over here. So I'm going to set up a well right there. And then let's go ahead and start to lay out some basic structures. So I'm laying out the plan for a wall. Done. All right. Let's go ahead and get our stockpile zones so that we can start to haul things out and do the work priorities. So firefight, patient, basic, and then everything. I don't really need to worry about weight and entertain just yet, but everything else set to 2s. Good. All right. Darius, you haul the wood. Elba, you haul the wood. Scipia, you haul jerky. And Bibo, you haul jerky. And let's get all this stuff nestled into our new home, our new land rights. Setting up a basic structure. It's going to be wood, because wood is cheap and plentiful. We're going to get some doors. And then I'm going to put a door here and here. And these are for bathrooms. And then really early on, we're going to want a research bench so that we can start research as quickly as possible and get a stool there. And let's get a table nestled in like this. 1, 2, and 3 with a hoopstone ring. Actually, I'm going to put the game border. Well, no, I'm going to put a hoopstone ring here and the game over there. And then last but not least, some sleeping spots. We don't even have complex furniture, so sleeping spots is the best we can do. The next thing I want to do is to set Bebo up to cut down trees as fast as she can, while the others are either building or hauling. So I'm going to micromanage her so that no time is wasted. The other things that we want for production is going to be probably a separate kitchen in order to avoid food poisoning because of the results of foot traffic. So I'm going to set up a second little kitchen here. And then we're also going to want a butchery table. I'll set the butchery table up here. And then adjacent to the butchery table, a butchery zone. So I'm going to start naming my zones accordingly. So this is going to be butchery. It's going to be for fresh, human-like, or animal corpses, not human-like. Oh man, that's the wrong thing to say. And then in here, this is going to be a normal zone for foods. I'm not even going to be all that specific. And then this is going to be, so this is our kitchen zone. And then this is the stockpile. Pretty straightforward. Then, for hygiene, we're going to want latrines and a well, and that's going to be enough for now. Once the latrines fill up, we're going to want to dump our waste. And I want to dump our waste somewhere pretty close to where the farm is, so that it doesn't have to travel very far. So waste will be dumped out here to be processed at a later date. Alright, so Doris is going to jump immediately into building. And then I'm going to have Scipia and Elba get the rest of the resources and also haul wood so that Doris doesn't need to make the trips himself. Once the walls are up, I will queue up the flooring as well. It's just going to wait until the walls are done. Walls are more important. We want to keep the wild animals from eating our jerky. Oh, there was a oak tree I didn't see. That's going to slow Doris down. Alright, let's see. You're grabbing wood. That's perfect. And Scipia, you should grab more jerky. Obviously, I'm going to want the silver and gold at some point, but it's pretty low on the priority list only because the wild animals aren't going to eat the silver or gold. Raiders would, of course, take it, but I don't really have to worry about raids right now. Alright, Bebo's continuing to cut down trees, and I'm just trying to tag all of the adult oak trees so that the fully grown oak trees are the highest yield around. Alright. Getting as much building as we could do done underway. And I'm going to go ahead and send Elba back down over here to grab the jerky. And Scipia, I don't really need you to carry wood such a short distance, so I'm going to have you go for the herbal meds. Alright. So the latrines are done, and I'm going to have Doris focus on the wells next, so that we don't have to travel to get clean water. And at this point, I'm going to start to grab the other resources. So, which brings me to my next thing. I'm going to set up a bloomery, and I'm going to set the bloomery up here, and I'm going to set up 3 zones. So I want this zone to be for coal. This zone for steel. And then, as you might imagine, the last zone... Oops. That's not what I wanted to paint. The last zone for iron. Alright. The other thing I'll probably want to do is a drop stockpile for the other raw resources, which would be stone blocks and the like. So, raw resources for stone blocks, bronze, jade. So let's actually pick them individually. Stone blocks, bronze, jade, uranium. Stuff that doesn't necessarily decay in the rain. So that, you know, we don't fill our normal stockpile up too fast. So we have a basic plumbing. And I'm going to do an occupancy check once the walls are done. And a well, which is a good start for making sure that we support our colonists with their hygiene needs. Alright, next, I think it would be wise to get a table, chairs, and recreation up. Alright, looks like we have all of the recreation and tables up. And then once the research bench is done, we'll be able to embark on research, which is going to be important because we know nothing. Darius is working on the wall, which is great. And it looks like Bebo, you might need some additional tree cutting tasks. There's a grove of poplar up here. And I know we're going to need a lot of wood initially, so we might as well get as much of it as possible. Alright, there's a research bench. And I think I'm going to force Darius to continue construction until the walls are done, rather than to go recreate right now. So I'm going to set him on a work-only schedule so I don't have to micromanage him so much. Okay, now that that's done, let's go ahead and start getting stone cutting. I don't think that we want to live in a wooden building for too long, as wooden buildings are a death trap in the long run. And for the fuel for the stove, we're going to go with wood. So the next thing we want to do here is just to floor this all up. And also, we're getting the bloomery going. Alright, now that that major setup work is done, I can take Darius off of the perpetual work priority, setting him up to not have breaks. Crafting spot. Let's go ahead and get some short bows made by Elba. As there's a grizzly bear right in our front yard. And, well, bears and wolves don't get along so well. So, that dude needs to move. Okay, the first bow's looking pretty good. Is there any reason to put the hoop inside? Yes. Our werewolves aren't too fond of the sun, so being outside when it's sunny sucks. Okay, we're about half paved, or maybe a third paved, but it's a good start. a solid start. The next task that we probably want to embark on, besides research of course being really important, is to start to get hunting done and to farm. So we're going to want to sow as much rice as possible while the growing season's here. It's a relatively short growing season, so we need to make the most of it. Or actually, it's not that short, but we still want to make the most of it. I'm going to set up a refining steel bill until we have, let's say, 250 of it. And then once Doris is done construction, I will have him start acquiring the reagents for steel. So the current priority right now is to make steel and set up a basic barracks. Not too complicated. And Elba's getting the bows for us so that we can start hunting. Taking a look at the wildlife out there, there are some doe, buck, ibex, alpaca. They're all safe to hunt. So that's what we'll be doing soon. Second bow is not so bad. I'm actually going to have Scipia switch her bow out with Bibo, as Bibo's likely to the one to be... Bibo and Elba are going to do more hunting than Scipia. Scipia's going to be sitting on the research bench more than the others, I think. So there's bow number 3. Good. Oh boy. We're going to have to deal with this grizzly soon, I think. First big kill. So, butchery. Let's go ahead and set up a butcher creature forever. Ingredient radius is very small, so we don't go running for it. And let's also decide not to butcher insects, as we are not fond of insect meat. Sounds bad. Alright, Doris, you are idle, and that's because we don't have enough wood to continue the flooring. So I'll have you go after iron. And Elba, you're also idle? There is a dead ibex that got hunted by a warg? And it looks like we can just steal it. Some carrion butchering. I think by nightfall, I might want to purposely hunt this grizzly, as I don't think it's safe to keep it around me for much longer. Although it did just eat, so I know it's not going to hunt me immediately. So let's set up a bill for simple meals, do until we have, let's say, 4 of them. And it's going to be made of, for now, meat that is not jerky. And then, for food assignments, let's do some default assignments here. So, changing defaults. Prisoners, slaves, tamed animals are not going to receive meds. Colonists, by default, are going to get herbal. And everybody else, no meds, essentially. Everybody is going to carry herbal meds. And then the apparel policy for right now, we will just say 52 plus. And I'm going to remove the nudist, soldier, and worker policies, as I don't intend to use them. Alright, the food policy. So this is going to be non-perishable. Wow. And then we are going to say, in terms of raw foods, don't eat any, because I don't want to eat the jerky. as jerky is kind of like a infinite pemmican. Don't eat kibble, don't eat pemmican, don't eat hay. Don't treat drugs as food. Don't eat raw plant matter. Don't eat raw plants. And don't eat raw corpses. So what is allowed is chocolate, baby food, and meals. And as far as the meals go, I'm going to allow all meals, except for cheese, nutrient paste, survival. So this is like really any meal, but mostly for now it's going to be just simple meals. And I'll get rid of the other default policies, as I don't really need them. I can keep nothing, because nothing is still a policy that I might use. And then as far as drug policies go, we're going to do social drugs, which is not going to have a policy until I actually have a source of drugs. And I'm going to create another policy and rename this no drugs. And no drugs doesn't really need to change. Reading policy is fine. So, yep, policies are done. Looks good for now. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to do here is, and this should honestly be called perishable, doesn't include milk. Or eggs. So, milk and eggs are not included. Okay, good. Alright, Elba. You are idle? Perfect. Go hunt a doe. Or go to sleep. Works too. So we got a little bit of iron here. Let's go get some coal so that Elba can start making steel. I want to make sure that he hauls, once he's done, he hauls it back. Alright, in terms of research, doing pretty good. Got stone cutting. I think until we have stone cutting, it doesn't really make sense to set up any other structures, as I don't intend for any other structures to be made of wood. Hence stone cutting being the first project that we're getting. Wooden structures, no. Not a lot of longevity in that. Another thing that we could consider is a... Oh, I don't have any wood at the moment. Got it. Queue up some more wood cutting. Alright, she's hunting a doe. And then Elba, you can go hunt the buck. I think I'm going to micromanage to make sure that it doesn't leave the map tile. Oops, that's completely not what I meant to do. There we go. Just some bruising. Nope, don't make it leave the map tile, friend. Which means running between it and the edge of the map and then shooting inwards so that it can't necessarily flee. Alright, I'm gonna have Scipia do a tending Bebo without meds, because I don't think this warrants meds, just a bruise. And we'll get Bebo to start making more food for everybody, so we don't run low. And I'm just going to have to manage the corpses so that we don't butcher too many at once. Additionally, I don't think jerky needs to be in here. So I'm going to take jerky out of the kitchen because we don't cook with it. Jerky can be substituted as a meat for meal cooking. The problem with doing that, however, is that jerky does not spoil, so we can just eat jerky raw. It'd be like using pemmican as a ingredient, right? It doesn't really make sense to use a processed good as an ingredient for cooking. Where did that... Okay, that bear sort of left the area. I'll keep an eye on it. So Doris is back down, grabbing some more coal. Bebo, filling up your recreation. Scipia's catching some outside time. Seeing if there's a possibility. I'm not going to try forced romance just yet, but it looks like their relationships are heading in the right direction. Alright, we have a whole bunch more coal than we have iron, so I'm going to switch back to iron mining. Keeping an eye on the bear. And this here has 102 of the 164 sewn. So we're closing in on sewing everything that needs to be sewn. Alright, looks good down there. Now with our current research, here's the research tree. Next is probably going to be complex furniture, but I'm going to leave that up to you. So I'm going to poll you guys about it. There is several different choices. So one is that we could research complex furniture for actual beds. We could also research smithing so that we can forge some things. So smithing would unlock the ability to make some melee weapons for Doris and maybe a simple helmet. There is complex clothing. So complex clothing would be good for winterized clothing, like toques, jackets, etc. There's recurve bow, if we want slightly better ranged weapons. Then there is plumbing. So plumbing would allow us to not have to necessarily use the wells and the like, but actually have baths. So have plumbing and water towers and the like. And then that's probably all that I would immediately include for what to research next. So have you guys choose between those 5 options. Alright, this buck is good for another day and change. So I don't necessarily need to worry about hunting just yet. Although I will hunt if Elba doesn't end up with tasks to do. So Elba has hit his steel. So I'm going to bring this quantity up to, let's say, 550. Because I intend to use a whole lot of steel pretty soon. Might as well stockpile it. And with most of the meat gone, let's continue hunting. So I'm queuing up hunting plain leather creatures so that we can amass a lot of plain leather. Let's make sure you don't... Oh boy, look at this. It is at the edge. Gotta make sure it doesn't flee. There we go. Drive it to the center. Alright, that's the next kill. How do people feel about each other? So Darius and Scipia are acquaintances. Everyone has positive feelings, but none that are too close. That bear is getting a mite bit up in my face. So I think come nightfall, it might be time to deal with that. The steel zone is a dumbbell? Sure is. And our werewolves have already filled up one latrine. That didn't take very long. I'm just going to empty the other one prematurely. I think they've all been using the same bathroom. Alright, Bebo, you are just about 18 rice plants away from finishing sowing that zone. Good. Chat, you guys want complex furniture next? So that we can have the luxury of beds? Alright, this is another case of probably does not require medicine, so let's not bother using medicine. Game's warning me I need defenses, which is funny because, you know, there really aren't many for, as options. Alright, steel count up to almost 500. Nice. And then stone cutting is a little over 2/3 of the way done. We research very slowly. Despite that, Scipia is pretty good at it. Alright. They quite like one another now. So Oh, I can't flirt. We don't have voices. Yeah. As you may have noticed, when we are in our true wolf form, we are incapable of talking. That's just the way it be sometimes. Alright. So just a few left. Ooh, and it's raining. Perfect. Rain adds to the fertility of the soil. So rain is great. Alright, next thing I want sown is going to be cotton. So we've got lots of rice, and the rice should start growing really fast due to all the rain. And then we'll get cotton so that we can make sacrificial flags and pyres and clothing and all the things that we're going to need to stay warm in the winter. Alright, what is the romance chance here? 41%? 44%? Come on. Nope. Reset back to 0. I basically roughly flipped a coin twice and lost both times. Alright, that's probably enough iron for now, and I'll go back to coal. Stockpile iron of coal up. And Elba has hit his steel target, so now he's just hauling the coal. Perfect. Oh, I saw that flirt attempt. She turned you down. Now you have low opinions. Oh man, we are really... We need like a professional matchmaker up in here. You guys are not that getting along. Alright, the other thing I'd like to do is to set up a stockpile for chunks. So this is going to be for marble chunks. And this will be for granite ones. And the stones that are like around the farm and around the building can be moved first. In fact, let's change the zone a little bit so that we can also use it as a defensive structure by leaving space behind it so that we can use it for cover. Alright, that looks good. The cotton is nearly sown, and then after the cotton gets sown, I'll probably go for heal root, so that we have plenty of medicine for sickness and injury. Looks like it's time to hunt something new. Time to hunt some alpaca. You know, I did mention disliking that bear. Let's do something about that now. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Lycan Legion, which originally streamed live on Twitch September 1st. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind that many details about the series were kept intentionally secret, and those secrets will not be revealed. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow legionaries.